Joining me now is child psychologist Dr. Anthony Rayo, a regular with us here. Thanks for being here. What about these class rankings, a help or a hindrance?
I can see it both ways, but I would say we've got to be a little bit careful not to eliminate the one measure that in fact tells us a lot about the 4 years that a teenager is in high school. So we have to be a little bit careful not to just sort of eliminate them along with grade point average. But as I said, I can see it both ways. I think that it can be harmful if it's done the wrong way.
Well, let's talk about it, because a lot of people think of them as a motivational tool. Say junior's not doing too well in the classroom, sees his ranking and says, I got to get that up. Well, he's motivated.
Yeah, well, for the kid that is a very high achieving kid, I don't care what rank you use, they're going to be working really hard to be at the top. But you have to be very cautious with kids that, especially in the younger years of high school, where they're just getting their footing and they're not really mature yet. Doing that sort of more public kind of ranking can be humiliating.
I was going to say public because we had this discussion in our meeting today, our news meeting, and there were people in the meeting who said in high school they had their rankings and their name on a board along with everybody else for all to see. I can't imagine that's a positive.
No, and I can't imagine that that would be helpful to any kid. It's just a way to publicly shame.
And also the fact that the pressure that's on these kids to begin with. I mean, everybody's trying to make the grade, and now you got to worry about rankings as well. Isn't it something, though, that we could take and say, go to the guidance counselor and say, all right, tell me my ranking, please?
That's exactly it. It should be personal. That's right. It should be something that's private, it's personal, it's something that is a score, much like an SAT, that only you and your guidance counselor and your parents should know about.
How about Dedham? They're looking at the 10th percentile, so they're not going to break it down into individual rank, but in groupings. Is that a better way? Maybe as an alternative, maybe some type of way we can mediate this conversation a little bit?
I think it's a good compromise because it still does give kids and parents a sense of where kids are falling. Am I in the top 10, 20, 30, 40 percentile? That way at least they have a rough idea where they are and they don't have to be pitted against one another so severely. You
say it's important to have these rankings, and you can see both sides of it, but statistics bear out that over the years it's come down as far as the colleges looking at these and determining, yes, this is critical to looking at these prospective students. 23% down from the 40s just 10 years ago.
I mean, I applaud colleges for not just looking at ranks only or making a big deal about any particular type of metric that they can get their hands on and looking at the whole student when they're making their decisions. But the reality is that once these teenagers leave high school, the world is going to be a place where everything is ranked. People come in first, second, or third. In a lot of ways, we don't want to give them the wrong message that it's okay to just stay within certain percentile ranges.
But it is interesting to note that I think, a lot of fewer schools are doing this now, and more high schools, as far as looking at the student, more high schools are saying we don't need these. Look, some deliberately leave them out just so you'll take a look at the total picture here, the total student.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And if they're doing it for that reason, it's a fantastic reason.
Dr. Anthony Rayo, appreciate the time.
My pleasure.
Good insight, thank you. Maria?